gotta get YouTube going.
Yeah, you go ahead, you tell me when
Okay,
you're ready.
ready.
Okay, I'd like to call the Recreation Public Funds and Buildings meeting to order at 7:31 p.m. Present are committee members Heeman and Sparrow, council members Broussard, Gilchrist, Glassburn, and Madden. Mr. Lippert will be absent this evening. Also present are the mayor, the finance director, HR director, economic director, service director, rec director, and special assistant. We are here to discuss resolution 2023-58, a resolution authorizing acceptance of grant funding awarded by the Cuyahoga County Council in the amount of $35,000 to provide for construction of improvements at Springville Golf Course and Ballroom, further authorizing the mayor to enter into necessary agreements therefore and declaring an emergency. This is, I think, essentially a redo of our ramp or safety equipment. Director, please.
Thank you. This resolution is an acceptance of grant funding, as you mentioned, $35,000 to put in a new ramp at Springville Ballroom. So this will replace the stairs that are in the central part of the building. That the entrance goes right behind the stage. So as of right now, I'm assuming that it passed the third read at Cuyahoga County Council this evening. So it was on third read at 5 o'clock today. If it did pass, that would enable us to use $35,000 towards an aluminum ramp, which was our Cuyahoga Valley engineer, our city engineer's estimate, or proceed to a concrete, more desirable ramp that'll last longer, be more aesthetically pleasing for an estimate of $70,000, and we can use the additional funding needed out of the Springville budget, which coincidentally, it has nothing to do with this, but our parking lot came in quite under budget for the bids. 325 estimate came in at 254. So we should have an extra amount of money to go the concrete route if we so choose to do so.
Okay. So to move up to then the concrete, we have to put that out to bid and do all of those things if we wanted to move forward with that.
We would.
I mean, I realize right now all we're doing is accepting the grant.
Correct. Yep.
And then when might you expect that we would be looking at legislation and discussing the next?
After the recess. Yeah. After the recess.
Okay. So, just to be clear, there's no required match or anything else to this.
There's not.
Just, okay. Thank you. Do I have any questions from committee?
No, I'm good.
Council? Any? Yes, please.
We have a ramp there now.
We have a ramp on the main entrance to the ballroom. It's a slight incline. It is not an ADA accessible ramp, meaning that this ramp will take you all the way into the ballroom, no stairs required.
Okay.
So the entrance that we have now is a slight incline up 2 stairs in the main entrance of the ballroom. We do have a third entrance further down by the clubhouse that is street level that you can go in, and there's a 1-person elevator that will take you up, and then you have to maneuver around into the ballroom. This is a 5 feet wide ramp, whether it's aluminum or concrete, that will allow us to traverse into the ballroom with family members if so required, or give that option right at the beginning of the entrance to the Springville entrance, instead of walking across the parking lot all the way down to the other end, separating family members and such. So.
Okay. All right, awesome.
All right. Any more questions, comments? All right, I would like to make a motion to recommend 2023-58 to all of council and ask for a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
If I could just add real quick,
Sorry.
Councilman Patrick Kelly just texted me and said the ADA ramp officially passed at council tonight.
Oh, perfect. Thank him for us. All right, I'll ask for that second again.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 2-0, and I will conclude at 7:36 p.m. Thank you, Director.
Thank you.
As far as I know, Ms. Williamson is downstairs. I sent her a text to come up for finance, so you have quorum. So hopefully she will do so.
Okay. We will await additional
Reinforcements.
Understood.
It's all about creating the illusion.
Speaking of experience.
Dan thinks he has control, he really doesn't. Right, Nicole?
He knows by now, he just.
Mayor, he's taking notes from
He
Mr.
is, I know.
Jones.
Because he's gonna go tell him to.
Yeah.
Don't write that part.
He's open to bribes.
Apologies, I was in meeting downstairs.
When you're ready, B? Okay, we'll start the Finance Committee of City Council on May 9th at 7:38 p.m. Present are our committee members, Glassman and Williamson, council members Broussard, Gilchrist, Heeman, Madden, and Scarl, the mayor and the directors of finance, HR, economic development, safety, service, recreation, and special assistants to the mayor. We have 2 items on the agenda today, and we'll take them in reverse order, starting with 2023-57 regarding job creation grant for R.D. Warner.
Thank you,
Please go
Mr.
ahead.
Chairman. Just by way of a quick introduction, our team has been working on this project since November of last year. And I'm very excited to bring this before council. I believe it's the largest job creation attraction project that we've had here in the city. It will bring 182 jobs, which I actually believe will be more because their intent is to grow here in North Olmsted. And they're committed to an annual payroll of $15.6 million. The company is R.E. Warner, and Director Upton will fill you in with the details, but I just wanted to be on the record with council as letting you know how excited we are to work with you on offering this package to this company.
Excellent. Director?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As the mayor mentioned, my office received outreach from Team Neo regarding this project. Typically, Team Neo is not engaged in the project unless folks are looking outside the region or outside the state. There's the Team Neo and Jobs Ohio also involved in this project, and we're certainly grateful for their partnership. R.E. Warner is an engineering firm that has doubled in the last 4 years, and they project to double again in the next 4 years. They have offices in 9 states and growing. Originally, when we first engaged with them, their job commitments were north of 200. That came down because they had immediate needs to hire engineers, and they they staff them in other states. So this is really a time-sensitive project. As I learned today, they actually have folks that are sharing desks at the place that they work now, right? So they've outgrown their space. They're right now they're at La Center in Westlake. Their initial lease is for 11 years and 45,000 square feet. As the mayor indicated, when they actually are fully staffed up to their commitments, their annual payroll number will be north of $15 million. Average payroll per employee is something like $87,000 per employee. So these are really high-paying engineering jobs. They intend to make this their corporate headquarters, and it really is for the Great Northern Corporate Center. It's a huge shop. We've had a lot of exits in that building. It's my understanding there are parts and provisions within the lease that require improvements on behalf of the landlord for things like the parking lot, and also a commitment to install a fitness center within the building itself to help further attract more tenants. So there's a lot of they call spillover benefits as it relates to this project. Happy to answer any questions about the incentive package, how it all came to be. But like I said, we've been kind of going in an iterative process with this company since early November.
Well, thank you. I'd like to just start out with saying thank you for bringing this. This is exactly the kind of thing, at least I was hoping for, and I think most of, if not all of council was hoping for when we started having a full-time economic development shop, and not just a passive, let business come to us kind of approach. So glad to see that the fruit of that is coming forward now. Director Upton, with this credit, what is the cost to the city going forward? And when I ask that, what, if anything, do we have to put out, or will this entirely be paid for in effect by the new jobs?
This is a great question. And so there's nothing that kind of is put out by the city. This is all a function of the payroll taxes received and the credit back to the company as a function of payroll taxes. And in kind of preparing the incentive package, I kind of had the min and the max, so we'll call them the navigational buoys, to kind of stay in between what this council's been amenable towards. And the incentive package itself is heavily weighted towards the first 4 years that they're going to be here. The reason being is they're so crunched for space, they're actually breaking their lease at La Center, and they're going to be paying 2 leases right now. That's how much they need space. So they're going to be paying for the La Center lease while they're paying for the new lease of 45,000 feet. So there's a time, they may be carrying 2 leases, right? So at their request, we kind of had a peanut butter approach where it was just spread evenly across the whole 10-year period. They came back and requested that they would forego that and would like to have the incentives weighted heavily towards the beginning of the period. And that actually works to our benefit, because as their job creation numbers hit their peak, their payroll hits their peak, their job creation grant drops significantly. So when you actually look at it as a function of the dollar value, right, of the credit, it's about a 40% credit over 10 years, right? So the taxes foregone are a little bit north of 1.1 million. The taxes generated are about 1.7 million. So on balance, it's a pretty fair proposal from us. It meets their needs where they're at, and it allows them to grow where they're at, and they have plenty more room in that building to grow and stay.
So this is in effect a net positive from the beginning of the agreement. Correct. In terms of more revenue to the city, and we have no related property tax, whether it be us, the schools, or anyone else.
No one's taking we're getting a little piece of pizza now, and at the end of the thing, we'll get the whole pizza. He is correct, I am Italian.
Hey, what's wrong?
Add that to the minutes. Are there questions from committee? Comments, Ms. Williamson.
This is great plan, happy to see this.
Director Copper?
I don't know, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
I just wanted to point out that they're doing a $3 million investment, $4 million, but some of it's furniture and fixtures. But, and then if the property owner's doing improvements too, there's a likelihood that the property values will go up as well. And if there's no CRA agreement with that, which we indicated we wouldn't, so that'll be a benefit to us and the schools down the road.
Very good. Seaman?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the, where are we at with like people that work at home? And I don't know if you could answer that, but what is currently the status of how we get those taxes and the percentages?
I'll let you go for that one, Director.
Employers are required, if they work a hybrid schedule, employers are required to withhold where someone is working at. So, so if you work 2 days in North Olmsted and 3 days in Cleveland, that's the withholding, yeah. And you can set a standard schedule as an employee, or an employer, it doesn't have to be exact, but that's what they do. So it did impact us, with some of our other employees, or employers.
Well, but so with regard to this though, if someone's got a, 2-day here, 3-day home, we're only having to pay out on the
Well,
2-day
so,
here, is that what I'm thinking?
correct, and I don't, in talking to Ari Warner, the mayor, and I had a really nice welcome meeting with their CEO, their chief operating officer, and their chief financial officer. And they indicated that their engineers are in the office. I don't know if it's quantum computing that they need or the types of printers, but the types of projects that they work on are massive. They have 2 projects that are both north of $500 million each. And they need the 45,000 feet because their folks actually come into the office. If they don't,
I was just curious as to making sure that, someone was still employed at home, we weren't having to pay on that portion, so that's fine, and we don't think they're in the office.
correct.
And that is a nice building.
It is in the agreement. Councilman Heeman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
So, to that point, does council need to have the agreement? Does the agreement itself need to be confidential?
I have a copy of it. I'd be more than happy to provide it to all council members. Terms and conditions are the same as what's laid out here. It was just unintentional that it didn't accompany the legislation itself. The legislation was been laid out at council, so just move forward in that fashion.
Okay. Other comments, questions? Okay, seeing none, do we need to alter the timeline on this, or we just go ahead with 3 readings?
3 readings is fine. We conveyed to them our timeline and comfortable.
Okay, in that case, I would move to favorably recommend 2023-57 and ask for a second.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Williamson, all those in favor?
Aye.
As favorably recommended, 2-0. Okay, our next item, 2023-46 regarding audiovisual in the caucus chambers rooms. If anyone needs to leave, feel free to go do that. So in our original process, if you want to, go ahead. Go ahead. I don't have cake for you at the
I was
fire
gonna say,
station.
if you leave, you don't have
Come and do what you gotta do. Okay, jokes aside, so when we last discussed this topic, we did not have a full kind of review of this from our clerk, and I wanted to give the clerk an opportunity to talk a little bit about what the needs from an administrative perspective of council itself are, and what options we would have to meet those needs.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, esteemed colleagues. So, this is coming back because originally we had a huge quote that council was completely against, kind of put a cap of 50,000 on it to do both rooms. Once it was determined that both rooms couldn't be done, it was decided to just do caucus. After we discussed it in finance last week, it seemed like there should be maybe more conversation about all of council's thoughts on that, as far as scope, money, that sort of thing. Currently, just doing one room doesn't really help me any, because I still have the pain in chambers. I need my Surface for YouTube, the chambers audio, the time clock. I need my phone for the Mevo cameras, which are beta versions, so they don't play nice with a lot of, I can't put it on my Surface, it just doesn't. Even older model iPhones, it doesn't go on. And there are those lovely moments when the camera doesn't work in chambers and I have to go downstairs and get the ladder from Fleet. I go up on the ladder to push the button to, reset it. So those kinds of things, I would like to go away. And, if we're planning on doing chambers next year, early next year, that's one thing. There's something on the horizon to take that away. But again, I wanted some discussion if we wanted to do both rooms, what kind of money we're talking about. The quotes we've received have been, between, for both, 90 and, up to 175, just depending on what you want. So, I don't think our requirements are out of this world. We're pretty reasonable, and I think we've agreed on everything we want for the administration and council. It's just a matter of how you want us to proceed with that project, going low cost model or a comprehensive model. That's it.
So, on that topic, so the proposals we've gotten so far are television studio kind of quality equipment. To have 4K cameras, to have 4K feeds, it's not just the next thing above HD. It starts out as a, apologize if I'm getting very technical, but 6 gigabytes a second of data that you need to have. In order to have that, you have to have more robust than HDMI cords. You have to have a computer that will make that feed smaller so that it can be streamed online, because no one has a 6 gigabyte a second internet. Equipment that is HD level as opposed to 4K is substantially less expensive than 4K equipment, and doesn't require you to have additional computers that do that compression, additional components that have to travel that higher end speed. So if we are looking at more of an HD level product, Clerk Taylor reached out to a number of other clerks. There is a example you have from North Canton, which is literally just north of the city, north of Canton, that uses a product called Owls. Can you talk a little bit about that?
So the clerk in North Canton, and I'm not saying that I could do this, but he actually set up his chambers. It is smaller than ours, by himself. It's all plug and play. The owls, as they're shown on that picture, they look like owls. They're cameras and recorders in one, and it's a 360. It recognizes voices when they're speaking, so it turns to that person, while they're talking. It would work perfectly in this room. In chambers, I'm a little unsure about that, just because it is such a large space. A larger ceiling. I don't know how the acoustics go with that sort of model recording, so, but it's an option. It's definitely going to probably be under $10,000 to do here easily. We would have to buy a TV, obviously have that mounted, but again, plug and play, it should be easy enough in here. He loves it. He says he's never had any issues with it, and he's pretty happy with that product.
Steven?
Thank you so much, for indulging me. So what specifically do they use it for? Do they have separate caucus and chamber rooms?
They don't.
Does he
They
have
just-
just one room? What's their setup as opposed to ours?
They just have chambers, which is
Just one.
smaller, and it's a U shape, and actually the audience is set into the U shape. So it is a little bit of a setup in here. Like I said, it's fine out there. I'm not so sure about, so.
Well, because they don't have two rooms. So
Correct.
these two, yeah,
Correct, yes.
okay. Just wanted to be sure.
To me, a couple of advantages beyond the cost consideration of this system are, one, that the cameras track the speaker. I don't know if what we had proposed from the administration will do that. Max is nodding his head yes. That feature, I think, is important, that we are not using our clerk as a television producer, moving the camera, trying to follow people during the meeting, especially in chambers. I don't think that would be feasible for her to divide her attention that way. The second element and advantage of being on more of a HD platform is that in their chambers, they have, all their council people have computer screens, and as well as administration, with the feed of the video going to them live contemporaneously. That is much less expensive to do and much less intensive when you're using regular plug-and-play equipment that doesn't require specialized, again, compression and cords and all of the additional items that make 4K possible. So, on the document we have, yes, please go ahead.
So on the high video proposal, which is the one that we were looking at, right? That was
Yes.
the one brought to us.
Yes.
Everything looks like it says HD base, I think it's HD, base camera, so what am I missing? HD, it's not HD, it's something else?
It is a 4K setup across all of it. So,
Okay.
like a 4K camera is going to be $3,000 to $5,000. An HD camera is $1,000.
Well, but it is an HD camera, and so, okay, that's right. I'm not that, I'm just reading there's equipment list. Keep going, sorry.
So on the document that our clerk put together that has the OWL cameras, she summarized us as having 4 options to go forward. One is to go forward with the quotes for both rooms that we are provided, which is going to be around $100,000, maybe a little bit more. Second, the clerk talked about doing this room and then coming back to chambers at a later time with that. Third, to try to lower cost would be to do a lesser option in this room that is smaller, that is maybe more suited to the HD outfit and setup. So do that here and then do a more robust option in council chambers, which might be more in the $60,000 to $70,000 range. The last we have listed is to try to pursue an HD option in both rooms, but in all likelihood, this is something where we're going to have to buy the components individually. We're going to have to work with our IT department to get that implemented. So those are, if we are going to eventually address the council chambers, kind of 4 different paths. And so want to do, at least, at the very least with this meeting, try to achieve a preferences of pathways forward if not making an outright decision tonight. So, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Chair, I just wanted to add to the iVideo quote that we received is using this Yamaha MA2120 amplifier, and they're reusing that in the new system. This was worked on in October of 2022 and by Paladin, and they recommended at that time that the mics in this be replaced because of the audio being too distorted and low. So we can't touch any of this right now. It has to stay like this for fear of losing our entire audio on this. So we really can't reuse that. We're gonna have to go back and add that in if that's something that we go with. Just mentioning.
Ms. Williamson, then Ms. Healy?
So with the OWL system, will we have to have different cameras? Like one for if someone comes up to the podium, one on the mayor's dais, and then one on the council dais as well?
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair.
Please go ahead.
It depends. So it's a 12-foot diameter for the owls. So we have to see, but they look like owls.
I'm
when they're
imagining
lit
this
up.
thing crawling across
Did you
the
just-
dais.
Did you
And
see
moving
it?
back and forth. I did.
Okay.
It looks like a nightlight.
No, it looks like a At any rate, it's a 12-foot diameter around there. So in there, it's a matter of how we could configure that. It's unknown at this moment.
But are they able to utilize like multiple cameras? I mean, is that,
Yes.
Yes.
would you have to be the cameraman,
No.
woman?
It would be a similar perspective if you've seen any county council meetings where the council's divided up three ways amongst three different cameras. That's probably likely the kind of setup we'd be looking at. Ms. Heeman?
So I wanted to just ask, was that the only other city that you talked to? Did you reach out to others
I
to see
did.
what they did?
I reached out to everybody and I got 2 responses back. And the other one was from North Ridgeville, which was one of the companies that we already had. So
And they said what about their stuff, about their equipment and the company that they were using?
not too much commentary, just giving me the quotes that they received. That's all.
Oh, they didn't tell you if they liked it or didn't like it?
They did not.
Be interested in knowing if they do or don't like it, because it's pricey, obviously. Okay.
Ms. Williamson?
Would we, if we went with a lower HD model, would we end up having to replace that down the road in a couple of years?
That may be beyond my actual level of expertise to answer. To me, it's a threshold question of, with 4K, we're not a theater, we're not sports. What is the level of communication do residents need to be able to understand and participate? If that feel and look is more high-end web camera, I'm personally okay with that. If we're looking for individuals where it looks like you're watching television, that's not what we're gonna get with an automated HD system.
How are we gonna control, presentations? Are we gonna be able to see, is the audience going to be able to see that on a screen if we use an OWL?
Yes. Again, one of the advantages of being on a lower level signal is that it's easy to send that out through a splitter with HDMI, normal HDMI cords to any number of screens on the dais for the audience. In terms of programming, the way North Canton does it actually is they have a PowerPoint of their agenda with each of the items on a separate page, and they have the council as like a picture-in-picture superimposed on that. And so like you see what the item is being discussed and the people talking about it. side by side.
But our viewers would be able to see, you know, if someone came in with, even in here with a board.
Yeah, anything that could be put on a laptop computer could be put on, whether it's a PowerPoint, a PDF, etc.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, well, B is still controlling all of that, because the way I understand this, it's like a go-to-meeting on steroids, right? Kind of thing, like a really fucked up sort of version of go-to-meeting.
It
Where she
could
would,
be
she
used
would
that
be
way,
sharing
yes.
the screen, she would be, she would still be doing all the work. She'd be generating the PowerPoint and everything else to prepare for our meetings and doing all that, right?
if we chose to have her do that, yes.
And what's the support level that you get from these people? Because, I mean, you can buy it on Amazon, you can buy it, you know. And so do they come and install it, like, how does all that work? And then who supports it, and then who, you know, when it's recording is challenged by someone who steps up and says, oh no, this is amazing, or how does any of that work? Or is this more of a do-it-yourself kind of thing?
I don't have personal experience working with this company. I don't know. Clerk Taylor North Canton conveyed that experience.
He has not had to reach out to them at all because it was simple enough for him to have to do. Although he did say that he contacted them recently about getting more hours, and that the company is working towards being able to connect more if you have a larger room. So, but he hasn't said if it's good or bad. I reached out to them yesterday, and they just got back to me via email about 5 o'clock this afternoon. So
To Canton or
to the
company?
Owl Labs
Oh, okay.
company, yeah. So not super receptive, but
Yeah, okay.
Mr. Scarlett?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Clerk, it says about Owl Care. Is that just for the warranty, or do they have a group that would come out and do work for us or fix it?
that's just,
It's a
they are
warranty.
selling the components
Okay,
to
so
us,
for the
so
warranty.
it's warranty for the components.
Thank you. So what are you then suggesting our overall cost would be for both rooms if we did this sort of do-it-yourself type methodology?
Well, if again, as the clerk has wrote them out, if we were doing option 3 or option 4, option 3 being,
I'm assuming you directed her to this, or, you know, how'd you find this?
How'd I find
This owl thing, just by calling around?
when I asked
Okay.
the other clerks for input?
Okay. Then, like, what are your costs in
said do the HD owls thing in here appears to be in the vicinity of 10,000. We have a proposal for doing the caucus room for 60,000 with the vendor from the administrative proposal.
Then how will her transition be seamless if we have one thing in here and one thing out there? I thought that was the thing that was not acceptable the last discussion we had, right? That we didn't wanna do one room one way, one room another way, or do it all at once, or, I mean, that was the feeling that I got if I was hearing that we didn't want 2 different systems.
So option 4 would be for us to try to pursue a Owl's HD level system in both rooms. So that would be my personal preference, but this is something we all have to live with and the clerk has to run. And so, yes, Ms. Taylor?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ms. Heeman, it's not so much having 2 different systems, it's having a new one here and keeping the old one there. That would be problematic because it's just unreliable and so cumbersome that you have to have surface, a camera, and the audio all aligned to make it work, so.
Yeah, and I get that, and I get that you're using your phone and no one wants that. I
Yeah,
mean,
no.
we don't want you to, you know, have a very painful experience at this. We like you, we want you to stay with us forever. So we get that part of it, but I still don't know that one system in here and a different one out there is completely solving a
Optimal.
problem, all the problems for you, or is it
Agreed.
just creating a different problem for you? A better problem, like it could be better.
Correct.
And that's not what we want. We want to.
And there are 4
solve it.
options, you know, just to kind of put it on paper for everybody to consider.
Sure.
Like, these are the different ways we can go.
Mr. Scarrow.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, Clerk Taylor, from what I looking at, 1 owl for this room and possibly 4 owls for the chambers. Would that support 4 owls at one time?
I think that's the concept of what we'd be looking to do.
Because 3 doesn't seem like it would just be 4. 2 for council, 1 for.
The county council has 11 members, and then the executive and their clerks sit at a podium. We have 7 council members, but we have 3, the mayor
Yeah.
and the law and finance, so it's a kind of a similar number of bodies and a similar width of room.
So my question would be, if we went with like option 4, and we had 1 in here and maybe 3 for sure, possibly 4 out there, that would make your life easy if it worked with the owls?
Yes. Not knowing. a
Not
little bit
knowing,
that much.
but
I will say this though, only 2 owls could be connected. So if we do 4 owls, I don't know what
how it
kind
switches
of
over.
work, how that works on the app. So it's to be determined yet.
Mr. Masserall?
I just, want just for everyone to know, that quote that you're talking about, like the 60,000, using it for kind of ballparking is fine, but we would have to go out to bid because it's over 50, so we'd have to hire somebody to design bid specs and things like that, so I just want to kind of caution on that quote is not something that we can necessarily guarantee when we go out to bid, because we have to bid that out.
Understood. Ms. Williamson?
Do we know what kind of system county council uses?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Could we maybe find out what they're using?
Yes, their system is from their implementation of government 10 years ago, so it may be a different generation of what's available.
Are they selling it?
It was pretty fancy at the time.
You could repurpose it here.
Director Confer.
I just wanted to, the money that's the 50, and then you still have other monies that are not appropriated yet. And those are ARPA funds, and they have to be spent or committed by the end of next year. So I guess if, in that argument, if you wanna make sure you're gonna have to do it early next year to be able to accommodate, make sure everything's done, so.
If we were to pursue options that don't involve going with the quotes presented from the administration, I would want us to have a pretty hard goal of doing our due diligence no later than by the time we come back after July. I don't want this to linger on, and so if there's not a viable option or determined to be viable options, then we come to that conclusion and just leave it at that, but and then make a decision of reverting back to what we had originally or not, but clerk has said her piece and what she's looking for, and so that's what I was trying to achieve with this meeting. So, we're gonna take it. This way.
I think, I would like to see us actually have contact with other municipalities around here. And I know it may not happen within a week, but if we could maybe try to get that in the next month, figure out, like have conversations and see if maybe we can get ideas of what they have and then possibly pursuing something else besides these four options here.
Mr. Scott?
I believe you've tried to get other,
I have
and nobody's come forward
only
with it.
just North Canton and North Ridgeville.
So hearing that, my preference is that, I wanna see both rooms done. I've said that from the beginning. So looking at this, if, the owls would work, I'm in favor of doing something with option 4, if it's feasible. I know it's feasible in the caucus with the council, if 3 or 4 cameras would work. And you can do it for under 50 or around 50, whatever. That's what I'm in favor of.
Ms. Williamson on this go first?
How was contact made with these people, folks? Was it through email or through phone calls?
We have a clerk email list that we ask
So
each other
maybe if we-
questions
Maybe
about.
if we try calling a couple of them?
I certainly could do that. The problem with that is everybody has different requirements, different sizes, so I could certainly find out what they use and if they like it, but, their requirements are probably not gonna match ours. Their room sizes are different and how they use those rooms will most likely be different, so I don't know if there's any value add there by.
But we didn't get anywhere with emailing them, so.
Correct.
Calling a few of them.
I mean, I definitely can call Westlake, I know her, and, the couple surrounding areas. for
Yeah, I
sure.
think that would be a good idea.
I agree. I think the biggest question mark is the chambers, and doing further due diligence on that is to find viability.
Thank you,
I'm
Mr.
sorry,
Chair.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
Ms. Gilchrist was saying, sorry.
Okay, I just have a question, because, as I'm listening, I'm hearing, which I think the owl thing's kinda cool, but you said that you don't know if more than 2 can work together. So if we need more than 2 for our big room, then it's not gonna work. So I think we need to investigate that before we decide on this. I mean, I really think it might be cool here, you set it right beside the table, you just spin around and, yeah, it'd be really cool, but out there is the issue.
I agree. I suspect that this vendor is not the only vendor that offers a product like this, and so if their product doesn't do it, perhaps someone else's does.
Oh, yeah.
But I just, I asked the clerk to give us an example of something to
Yeah,
look at.
that type of option wasn't really researched very well, so,
Mr. Scarlett and Ms.
Thank
Healy.
you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I'm in agreement to see about some of the bigger council chambers, like especially Lakewood. That's a big room. I'd like to know maybe what they use, because I've seen their audio and video is well done. I don't know if it's 4K or not, but maybe it's the owl system, I don't know. But we need a big room like that to compare to ours. I'm not sure that North Canton is as big as ours. I highly doubt it.
it is
So-
not.
And Harmon, yeah, so someone that has these big ones that are just big. And if we can get another vendor for the owls and see, something's gotta work, I mean, it's not, there's too much new technology out there. So, it can't be done. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ms. Healy?
Thank you. Yeah, I don't know that we'll get a vendor to come out for something like this, because this is a smaller company started by one guy. He puts his products out there, you buy cables from them online, or I don't know that they have like a sales rep vendor person, but if you could find that out, that would be nice. The OWL system. I mean, it seems to be like self-service of sorts, and not that we could get a proposal. So no, we wouldn't have a comparable proposal to this because it's not a comparable product, that's all. And then we have to consider the electrical work that would be required, because any of the proposals that we did get were without additional electrical work. It was just components and things. So there still is a piece of that puzzle for both rooms, that they have to be rewired or redone somehow. And I don't know how that adds to the cost, taking it over 50 to go out to bid. I don't know that you get a bid from the owl people, I don't know any of that. But I'm going home to like, look at Shark Tank. There must be something out there. Ring doorbell was on there.
Mr. Mascarolo, Director Upton, was electrical and all of that included in this proposal? From,
Expressly excluded.
okay, so that is a factor we have to figure out either way. Okay. Ms. Williamson.
Thank you for researching, you did so far. Thank you.
Okay, do you have any other comments, questions? Okay, it sounds to me like we have a consensus of asking the clerk to do further due diligence on other governmental bodies and the owls and similar products. Is that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Then I guess I would move that we hold 2023-46 in committee. Ask for a second. Second. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's 2-0. And we will conclude at 8:22.
Close, we're about 4 times.